Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back. This is News and Views with me, Julie Ali. It is exactly 9:09 South African time. We're crossing over to Kenya and we're going to be talking to a dear brother Ali Al-Murda'a. I think that's how his name is spelled and pronounced. Assalamu alaikum to you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me, Julia. Wa alaikum assalam. I'm quite grateful for being here.
Well, we need to hear your story as an expat Palestinian. You're living in Kenya, and there are plenty more like you all around the world. There's this Palestinian diaspora, and undoubtedly, the current genocide has a huge impact on each and every one of you because those are your brothers and sisters and your people that are suffering this atrocity. Um, Allah
Yes.
be merciful to one and all. So let's talk about you in particular. How have you found yourself in Kenya?
So I'm a second generation refugee from Lebanon, from Palestine, residing in Lebanon. My father was a refugee, and his father and his brother were like born in Palestine, and unfortunately they couldn't migrate because they were killed in Palestine. And my father and his family came to Lebanon. Growing up, my father had an immense impact on us, and he made sure that we were involved in the civil society. Being that, we were quite involved in all the movements, everything in Lebanon. And as you know, Lebanon had a huge flux of refugees during the Syrian civil war. I was roughly like 15, 16 years old in 2011, and I was involved in the society, and it left a huge impact on me. Then, when I finally graduated from college, I decided I want to work in the humanitarian aid sector. And I worked for several NGOs, local and international NGOs. Then I left. I tried to pursue a career in the Gulf, but I did not feel any satisfaction. I did not feel I'm happy and I'm doing something for humanity. So I decided to resign and join back an NGO. And my journey brought me to Kenya. I came in September to Kenya, and I'm supposed to leave this month.
Okay, we are going to be talking a week for Palestine, and I'm just kind of wondering what was your time like in Kenya and what type of humanitarian work were you involved in
Ah,
Kenya?
So I work for a medical organization, and it's one of the biggest organizations in the world where we provide aid for the people in need. Uh, this is like what I do in Kenya, and besides that, I'm quite involved in the civil society in Kenya where we're advocating for Palestine. We're trying to do as much as we can for Palestine, especially awareness, because based on our discussion, you'll notice that some part of Kenya they don't know what Palestine is, and they think about the cause. The Palestinian and Israel conflict is just a war between two nations.
So you are, I should imagine, part of Week 4 for Palestine would be to make people understand Palestine's history and why the genocide is happening. How do you, as a Palestinian, transcend being Palestinian? You're in Kenya currently. I don't know where you're moving to next. Perhaps you'll tell us that. But the type of stories you're hearing from Palestinians around the world.
So to put things in perspective, we have an amazing Kenyan team. They work in the civil society in the Kenya for Palestine community and other communities that support and advocate for Palestine. Uh, all of them, like roughly 95% of them, are Kenyans, and they're doing their work by themselves. All we can do is like support and be there for them. So I'm not managing the events, as unfortunately I don't have enough time on my hands, but I'm always there for them, and they're doing an amazing job, and I'm really grateful for that. The Palestinians here in Kenya are not much, to be honest. I've met few, and probably you've heard of them. Uh, Most of them the ones are here are working for like NGOs or like UN or other organizations. I didn't meet anyone working in the private sector, but the people who are here are genuinely, they thank the support that we're getting from the Kenyans, especially at the very beginning when I came to Kenya. I noticed that the people are quite ignorant about the cause. And unfortunately, I was a bit depressed about it because that happened before the 7th of October. I was a bit depressed about it. I was a bit concerned because it's an ethical cause. It's not something like you can have an opinion. It's like, of course, you can have opinion on everything, but killing people, ethnic cleansing, genocide should never be tolerated. And when I had several discussions with a lot of Kenyans, and I noticed that some of them were ignorant. They didn't know anything about the cause. They didn't know anything about what's happening in Palestine. They didn't know what Palestine is. They thought that it was an independent country and like God knows where it is. Some of them, like when I informed them and I told them and I tried to relate the Palestinian resistance to the Mau Mau movement here in Kenya, they showed remorse and they showed deep concern about the cause. And some of them were involved in Kenya for Palestine community. Some of them, they didn't seem to care at all. And then I was, to be honest, I'm one of the luckiest people alive. Uh, I went to an event. It was a Sudanese event where I met a member in Kenya for Palestine. And that happened roughly like 2 or 3 weeks after I came to Kenya. And then they introduced me to the community, the Kenya for Palestine community, which I'm going to be very honest with you, it changed my whole experience here in the country. I found a huge support group before and after 7th of October. I found people who like, we share the same values, we share the same ethical point of view, we share the same uh, dilemma about the world, and I'm quite grateful about that. Uh, Luckily, like they have been organizing a lot of events before 7th of October and after 7th of October, and before but after 7th of October, it was like a bit more because it's all over the news. So before that, we had like some rallies to introduce people to each other, to introduce the people about the Palestinian history and other things. And after that, we started showing what the Palestinians been going through. We showed what the people have been going through, and we tried to relate that to the Kenyan struggle as well, to all people's struggle, not just the Kenyans. And then we started like doing protests, rallies, and events, fundraising events, art shows about the Palestinians, about some really, really interesting Palestinian artists. And one of them is residing here in Kenya. And then after that, like during our protest, the first protest, we were supposed to go somewhere. And then we heard that there's a heavy police presence in that area. So we decided to go to a private venue where we were raided by the police. Several people were arrested. And it felt like they're trying to suppress us here as well. And then another protest, which was quite recent. It was, I do believe, in February, where unfortunately the police was waiting for us. They used force to dismantle us and break the protest. Where we went there, we're a peaceful protest. We're just holding signs and other things, just like we want to reflect what's in our heart. We want to see like what are you doing is wrong. And then another person was shot with a tear gas in her leg and she was injured. People were arrested. People were like treated in a very bad way. And in the current moment, because of the current weather conditions, we're not able to go outside as most of the areas are flooded and mobility is something to concern of. A lot of people were stuck on the roads. They couldn't leave their work. So we decided to go to a private venue. We're showing a movie about Marwan's Barghouti, Tomorrow's Freedom. And I do believe that Marwan Barghouti is the next Nelson Mandela.
Okay. You indicated that you're going to be leaving Kenya soon. Where will you be
Yes,
going to? And are you going to be carrying on with your aid work?
definitely. I'm heading to Afghanistan afterwards. I'm supposed to be there in July. And I'm gonna keep on advocating, keep the awareness. I'm gonna make sure to talk about Palestine, to talk about every injustice that's happening in the world. I'm gonna advocate about that. I'm gonna teach people about it. I'm gonna be an ambassador of peace, ambassador of humanity.
We've been hearing stories and we've been hearing questions being raised by people all around the world asking. We do know that the West, the global North are in support, very especially the United States, the UK, Germany, etc., are in total support of the genocide because they've been arming Israel, and Israel seems to be a power unto themselves. There has been talk about Netanyahu and his cronies being taken to the ICJ for crimes against humanity, war crimes against humanity. And they've just scoffed at it. They seem to think that they're almighty and nothing can touch them. And it also seems as if they have a hold. It doesn't seem, it is in fact the truth. They have a hold on America, the United States, some European countries, including the UK. So that's a very worrying situation. And the support that the Palestinian people are really getting is mainly from the global south. Um, and you kind of wonder why it is playing out like it is. But the big question is, how come the majority of the Middle East countries are not coming to support the Palestinian people? Is that a fact, or is that a misunderstanding by people outside of Palestine and the situation that the Palestinians find themselves in? The immediate neighbors of Palestine, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, the entire Middle East. What is your take on that situation?
First of all, I'm not a politician. I do have my opinion, and these are my personal opinions. I do believe the movements that's happening around the world will change the upcoming years. A lot of countries are now considering recognizing Palestine as an independent state, and this is a huge milestone for us, knowing that personally speaking, I want Palestine to be free. I want Palestinian people to be able to go anywhere, to be able to leave their house without being worried that they're going to be killed or they're going to be prosecuted or discriminated or just because they are Palestinians. And I do believe that Palestine is for everyone. Everyone is welcome in Palestine. Just like I do feel welcomed in South Africa, I do feel like everyone should be welcomed in Palestine. My take on what's happening in the Arab world is obnoxious. It's obnoxious behavior, and unfortunately, they got all the Arab lead, not all the Arab, most of the Arab leaders in their hand, their pocket. I don't know how, I don't know why, and no one's like following the ethics. They're just following the money. Like it's a capitalist word, and all of these countries who are advocating like, yeah, we're supporting Israel. Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel has like the right to do whatever they want, and they're not holding it accountable. Shows a lot about their moral ethics. Shows a lot about their democracy.
Um, it's depressing and saddening, very sad to think that your Arab neighbors are not supporting you, despite all the fact that they're ignoring and closing their eyes to what is happening in Palestine. I have no doubt in my mind that the Palestinian people are resolute in becoming independent, and inshallah, they will be victorious and they will become independent, totally independent. We often hear the the talk around the one state solution and the two state solution. I've spoken with certain Palestinian people in the past who believe that the two state solution will never ever work. It's not a situation to even be considered. As a Palestinian yourself, what do you believe would be the answer? Because in the same breath, a lot of Palestinian people are also saying a two state solution will not be workable, but they're not saying that we want to get rid of the Israelis. We can live in peace side by side with Jewish people. Do you have the same view, and why?
Uh, First of all, I don't believe we have an issue with the Jewish people. Judaism is a religion just as any religion, and everyone has the right to believe in whatever they want. I don't believe the conflict is a religious conflict. It's an ideological, fascist conflict, and it's all about we are the chosen ones. We are better than anyone else. As long as we have this mentality, no matter how many state solutions they will have, we won't be able to live in peace, as they'll always want to take like more, and they think that they are entitled to get more. So first of all, I was a bit fortunate to live outside of to Palestine, knowing that like I did not face the discrimination that people in the West Bank or people in Gaza experienced by the Israelis. I've never seen an IDF soldier before. I've never encountered any person who's from that group, and I'm grateful for that, to be honest, because I can't imagine what will go through like the Palestinians' mind whenever they are stopped at the checkpoint or detained for a political reason or for administrative reason. I do believe a one-state solution is much better than a two-state solution, but unfortunately, let's say like we have one state, but we need to have justice, equality, freedom, independence. You can do like you are a citizen, like you're not a face, like we don't have to have classes and the citizens. It's just like one class, which is a citizen in the country, and you're as good as what you bring to the country. You're as good as what you can provide morally, emotionally, physically, physical support to the country, and you are building your country. The two-state solution has a lot of drawbacks. Looking at the geography of the country, let's say like we have a West Bank or we have Gaza as one state, they'll have a lot of logistical challenges, a lot of other challenges, and people won't be able to sustain themselves. The areas are quite small, and looking at it, I don't think that they'll be able to support themselves. As like we don't have enough resources in these areas to support the population. Having one state solution is much better, but we have to have an independent, and we have to enforce justice and equality.
Okay, we're going to have to wrap up now. I have my next guest on standby. Just as a matter of interest, have you ever been to Palestine?
As a Palestinian refugee, I don't have a passport. First of all, I have a
Ah,
travel document from from Lebanon. I'm not allowed near the border. One time, I managed to get to the Palestinian border, and I started crying. I don't know why I started crying. Like the terrain is no different from the southern part of Lebanon, but I felt like I belonged to that place. I felt like I belonged there. Now I'm trying my best to find any solution for me to go to Palestine, but I don't want to go through Israel. First of all, I can't go, but I'm trying to explore all the options, try to see how can I go there just to see my ancestors' land.
inshallah.
Inshallah.
We pray that the Palestinians do become victorious. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this a reality and let this madness and this viciousness of the killing, the genocide end, inshallah. Wonderful talking with you. In closing, what else you want to tell us very quickly about Week for Palestine? Week for
Uh,
Palestine, of course.
don't stop talking about Palestine. Keep advocating. Keep focusing on Palestine and all other issues. Because if we stop talking about Palestine, Palestine will no longer exist. We have to make sure that everyone will be held accountable. I do believe everyone in the world is now a bit more responsible. I'm not talking about some nations, but other nations, especially the nations where like they experience such colonizing behavior from other states. They're standing with us, and I'm extremely grateful for their support.
And we here at
Okay.
Salam Media will keep this story alive for as long as we can, and we will. We'll never forget Palestine. Shukran very much for being with
Thank you
us
so much, Julie.
this morning.
Thank you so much.
Ali Al-Murda'a, and you talking to us from Kenya. All the very best. Till the next time, Assalamu alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much.
28 after 9 o'clock, news and views on Salam Media. Standing by to talk with us this morning is Faisal Musa from Mkonto, West Sizwe. And of course, he's here to talk about the elections. So we do hope you're going to stay with us and hear what he has to say about the upcoming elections and how it's going to change South Africa as we know it for the better, I hope, inshallah. Please stay with us.